Good evening, everyone. This is Rebecca with Red True Crime, and we got some updates on some cases here. And one, I guess, disclaimer slash, I don't know, letter to the editor, whatever you want to call it. So, first, we're going to talk about Cecil Brockman. He is a local, um, he's a state representative. He covers Guilford County and some other parts. And he was arrested a few days ago and charged with, wrong one. Here we go. As you can see, he was charged with 4 crimes, 2 different ones, but 4 counts of things. Before I get into all this, let me just say that, I appreciate the support I get on this channel, and I appreciate everyone, with the comments and everything else. So just keep it rolling, keep subscribing, keep sharing, keep recommending, keep commenting. And help bring these people to justice that commit these type of crimes and help find the missing that are, that are out there. You never know when you may know something without really knowing it. So let's get to Cecil Antonio Brockman. So on Wednesday, he was arrested and charged with these 4 crimes. And he didn't go to court initially because he had a medical emergency, whatever that was, I do not know. So he was in the hospital Wednesday and Thursday. So he went back to court today. Now, Wednesday, when he was arrested, he never was given any bond. He was denied bond. And I think I told you guys why. I had the paperwork right here. Let me see if I can find it real quick. But, we know why he was denied bond because he's a psychopath, give or take. Let's see, which one is it? I can't find the file right now. So basically, he was denied bond because one, he is considered a flight risk. Two, um, he was trying to get access to the minor that he was abusing that was in the hospital, trying to use his position, and that's just the beginning. So today, he went to court today. He has an attorney. They gave him a $1 million and $1,050,000 bond he has to come up with. But then you find out more details. He met this child because they're a child. I'm sorry, they're under the age of 18. They're a child. They're 15 years old to be exact. He met this 15-year-old when they were 14, and he met them on an app. Now, I don't know if this is a male or female child. They have never disclosed that. But he met this child on an app in Atlanta. So he went to Atlanta and met this child, and they spent time together in Atlanta. Then he moved back to North Carolina and brought said child with him to North Carolina, and they had been living together in an apartment in High Point for months. Months, okay? So, for whatever reason, said kid got loose, ran away, I don't know what's going on, but Cecil Brockman called the police to find him or her. And this is what started this whole thing. When they found the kid, they got his phone. When they got into the phone, they found all kinds of illicit material, video evidence of things that were going on between Cecil Brockman and this kid. Cecil Brockman, when he got to the hospital and they found out that they had found the child, he tried to bust down a door to get to said kid. This does not sound like a normally calm man to me. Now, he has been the representative for the state of North Carolina since 2014. And he's been doing horrific things to a 15-year-old for months. This guy should never have gotten bond. Now, the Democratic Party in North Carolina, the governor of North Carolina, and one other party are asking him to resign immediately. They don't even want to wait to see what the outcome is of this trial. They want him gone now. And I think they're wise to do that. So, yeah, Cecil Antonio Brockman, our state representative for the Guilford County, um, is dead to rights with everything that is being done to him. So, don't know how much time he's gonna get, but he's probably going to get some time with this. I don't see how he's going to get out of this. But they've made it clear that they think he's a flight risk, and they also made it clear that if he does make bond, he is not allowed to leave the state of North Carolina, and he's not allowed to have any type of connection or contacting of said child or have anyone contact said child on his behalf. So they are cutting him off completely. And my thing is keep him in jail. That will really keep him cut off completely. So there's that case. So Cecil Brockman, it will probably go away for some time. All right, so let's get to the next part. Let's see. What's this one? Mm, doo, doo, doo. Now, we did talk about the case of Omri Jones. Now, when I talked about her, it was not on with her name. She was the child that was tortured and left for dead in Cleveland, the 5-year-old autistic girl that was tortured and left for dead and sexually assaulted by 3 kids ages 8, 9, and 10. And her name, as we now know, is Omri Jones. That is isn't she cute as a button? So sweet. That is her. Now, as I'm finding out, the mother has been talking out on social media, and I can't say I blame her, because it feels like that the police are not doing anything. I mean, this case happened a month ago, and there's been very little press coverage. Now, since she's been speaking out, it's definitely amped up. Like, it's all over social media. Every true crime podcaster, including myself, has been talking about this. And this woman, the mother, is beyond devastated because she's finding out there's not a whole lot of legal things they can do to these kids because of their age. The only one they can go after criminally is the 10-year-old girl, and the 2 boys, maybe juvenile I don't know what they're gonna do, but supposedly maybe the parents are gonna get charged, I don't know. But you're finding out that the neighbors of that neighborhood knew how vicious these kids were and wouldn't let their own children play with these kids. Apparently, they are menaces. This is their behavior is disturbing, and it was ramping up. I don't know what all they have been doing. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, here we go. This is Antavia Kennebrew. That is the mother of Omri Jones. She said, I have been told to delete my last post about how these kids been doing evil things because I'm slandering them. The law care more about them than my daughter. And you see the rest of her language. I'm done posting on here. They do not care. So that is how she feels. And I can't say I blame her, to be honest with you. Now, let me see. This is people telling her, like, "Can you post the names or can you send me the names of these kids or the families privately and we can talk about them?" Because she's concerned about saying anything and then getting sued. Um, but apparently in some of the comments we found out, and the mother posted this, that the parents of said children were trying to move out of the neighborhood in the middle of the night, trying to get their kids out of Dodge, trying to keep them from being persecuted. Not prosecuted, honestly. And why do they get to be saved? Because they committed this crime. And the bigger question is, where on earth did they learn this type of behavior? Because this is not something a normal 8, 9, or 10-year-old knows to do. Because they had lured her to this field. They hit her in the head with a rock, knocked her unconscious. They stripped her clothes off of her. Hey, Vernon, how you doing? They stripped her clothes off of her. They beat her. They ripped her hair, her braids from her scalp. They inputted their body parts into her body, and then they shoved sticks into her cavities. Her mouth was full with blood and dirt. Her fingernails were covered, had dirt up in them. She had sticks and debris all up inside her, in her mouth, in her private areas, and they peed on her, and they tried to strangle her with her own shirt, and they left her for dead. They really thought she was dead. She was unconscious when she was found. She is still alive. The mother said that when she did come, conscious again in the hospital, she said, "Mama, they killed me." Now, this little girl is autistic. She is 5 years old. I can only imagine what she thinks that actually means. But in the month since this has happened, she has returned home. She has, trying to pick the pieces back up of her life, but she's 5 years old. Mother has stated that she has behaviorally just not the same kid. She's threatening to hurt herself. She doesn't want to be alive anymore, and that is beyond the saddest thing I have ever heard in my life. These children that did this to her, they need to be held accountable. They need to be gathered. They need to be taken to some type of psychiatric facility that specializes in children, and they need to be evaluated, and CPS needs to be involved and figure out what the hell is going on in their homes for these kids to act this way. It is rare that someone is born that kind of evil without any type of influence. It is rare. But you're finding out that this is an ongoing issue in this neighborhood, that these neighbors are terrified of these kids. They won't even let their own kids play with these kids. Now, this little girl, she was with a family relative staying with her while her mother was having a medical procedure done. And, the woman didn't know. She had just moved to the neighborhood. She knew nothing about these kids. So when the child went outside, she had no idea what was going to happen. Nor do I blame this woman. I don't. The mother doesn't. So this child is going to have a very, very rough hill ahead of her. Very rough. And we should do everything we can to support this family. I will say this case may very well be a law changing case. And what I mean by that is when you have children this young acting this depraved in society, the fact that the law says we can't do anything about them because they're so young is not good enough. Not saying they need to be executed, but more needs to be done. They need to be held accountable. I don't give a damn if they're 7 years old or 8 years old or 9 years old. They're old enough to know right from wrong at that point. And the fact that they behaved in the manner that they behaved is insane. So take them, evaluate them, keep them for some time because the mother feels, and based on what I've read about this, those kids have been doing horrific things to other people and to animals and everything else in the neighborhood. I truly believe this little girl, and the mother has stated this, and I agree with her. I truly believe this little girl was gonna be their first kill, because they literally thought she was dead when they walked away or was about to die. Thank God she didn't. Thank God she persevered, and thank God she's alive right now to tell her story. Hmm. So, her name is on these, this family needs your support, and those kids need to be put out. I mean, the world needs to be made aware of them, not to jeer at them or whatever, but they need to put the neighbors on alert because these kids are dangerous as all get out, and the parents are just as culpable. I truly and I agree with you, Vernon, on that. They're culpable. So, all right. So let's get back to the next case. And this is where it's my letter to the editor, whatever. So yesterday, I talked about the paternity court case where the mother went crazy and shot four of her four kids. Two of them died. And the oldest one was featured, actually, the second oldest one, as I'm finding out, that when she was on paternity court, it was about him because she had 2 men there. She thought they were one of them could be the father. Turns out neither one of them was the father. It is what it is. And this court case was like 12, 13 years ago. So there she is right there. This woman, silly, silly woman, went on to have, after this little boy, 3 more children. So she's a total of 5. She had one older than him, and then she had 3 more after this one. That 13-year-old boy unfortunately died, and her 3-year-old daughter also died. There was an 8-year-old and a 9-year-old that have survived, and or 7 and 8-year-old that have survived, and they're in the hospital and, will be with CPS once they're discharged. I don't know what's going on with this woman, but when they raided her house, they found that she was running a counterfeit identity ring. So I'm not sure what all she was doing, but this is in Texas. So the question is, if she did in fact have some type of psychotic break and went crazy and killed her kids because she kept saying, "I gotta get them before they get me." Very paranoid acting. Do you think she should be excused from the death penalty for that? That's the question at hand. It makes me think about Andrea Yates. Andrea Yates, if you don't remember, was a woman in Texas, who drowned all 5 of her children. Now, the difference with Andrea Yates, and again, I don't know so much about this woman here in the picture and as to what her backstory is, other than the fact that she sleeps around. Um, Andrea Yates was a stay-at-home mom. She had 5 kids back to back to back. Her husband worked for NASA and refused to get her help and refused to give her a break. And the doctors had told him repeatedly after each birth that they were concerned about her mental state and advised maybe they shouldn't have any more children. And he kept doing it anyway. God wants me to have more kids. God wants me to do this. So in her situation, and personally, I don't understand why the husband was never charged, even for indifference, something, because in my opinion, the fact that he did nothing to help her, and he was warned by doctors, and he was, he wouldn't even let her mother come in and stay to help her out with those kids, which is a travesty right there. So, in my opinion, he should have been charged as well as an accessory after the fact, something, because I think he was just as culpable. But with her, they did not give her the death penalty. They actually put her in a institution, and she's been there since I wanna say this was the late '90s this happened, so she's been there for 30 years. She even had the chance to be paroled, and she wouldn't even take it. She's like, "Nope, I deserve to be here. I'm not doing it." And I don't blame her. And that's a very sad case because that was obvious. That was a case that, in my opinion, could have been prevented had her husband gave a damn. And he eventually divorced her and remarried and all this other crap and plays the victim, and I'm like, "Dude, whatever." That's how I feel about him. So, that is the 3rd case I was talking about right here. This lady right here. I forget her name. Orinda, I think her name is. But you're having more and more women killing their kids, and I would love to know why the hell this is happening because life can't be that damn hard. It can't be. You got a lot of single parents out there, and they're going crazy because boyfriend left them or is seeing somebody else, so they want to kill the kids to get revenge. What point does that make? If they're gone, they're not coming back. Just get over it. Go find somebody else? Raising children is hard. I'm not gonna lie, I have 3 myself, and there are days I've wanted to just jump off a bridge, and I'm saying that facetiously. You know, um, all 3 of my children are special to me. All 3 of my children have issues. My oldest kid is autistic. My middle child is that found out had some psychological issues. My 3rd child has a heart condition and other things going on with her. So all 3 of them had issues, but persevered and they're alive. I mean, granted, I had my husband too, but he didn't really help. He added more drama to it, but it is what it is. And I would like to know why we're seeing an uptick in this of mothers committing murder on their own children. I would love to know why this is happening because you're hearing more and more cases about this, and I don't know why. It makes no sense to me because as a woman, you have the maternal instinct to protect your young. If you're killing them, that's not protecting them. So make it make sense, everybody, please, because I can't. I absolutely cannot. Okay, so let's do a brief recap. So we've got Cecil Brockman, who, in my opinion, should be getting charged with a Mann Act because that is what Diddy got charged with. Because he did the same thing. He went down to Atlanta, brought home a 15-year-old juvenile from Atlanta to North Carolina, was living with them for months and performing sex acts with them that they videotaped. That's on electronic devices. He's not getting out of this. So he transported a minor for the purposes of sex. I'm sure he's gonna get some type of federal indictment on this. Feds are gonna come in on him on this. Um, and he's been asked to step down as our state representative. He's been asked to resign by the Democratic Party and the governor and a few other people. So there's that. Then we talked about Amory Jones and how her mother feels she's not going to get any real justice, and I understand why, because the children who committed the crimes are just that, they are children. But they are some messed up children, and I would love to know why they behave this way, because obviously for them to do what they did to this poor child, they have seen something or something's been done to them to make them think this is okay. And I believe they were on the end of committing a murder. I really do, and I think that child was gonna be their first victim. And then we've talked about Orinda here, who was a fraternity court contestant and got found to be trifling. So and then she went and tried to kill all 4 of her kids, but did not succeed. Only got 2 of them, which is unfortunate. So there is our recap for Friday. Won't have too much of any court recaps right now because they've shut down, the North Carolina court database, because they're adding on the final counties, to make the whole thing complete. So as of Monday, if you have ever committed a crime in the state of North Carolina, you can see it yourself come Monday. Every county will be listed online, and you'll be able to go through and find whatever it is you want on whoever. So it'll be there, and it's free. So there you have it. I'm gonna hop off here, and oh, yeah, and, Cecil Brockman's due back in court on November 13th. He goes back. So keep an eye open on that to cover more, but I would not be surprised if he starts seeing federal charges for this. I really would not be surprised. Would not be surprised at all. Okay, everybody. Well, I'm gonna hop off here. It's late and I'm tired. So and be careful out there because GHO is going on. And for those of you who are not from Greensboro or from North Carolina, GHO is the greatest homecoming on earth. North Carolina A&T, which is a HBCU. It's their homecoming week, and they have one of the biggest homecomings in the country. It's insane. And there's been people getting pepper spray pepper sprayed and shot and fighting, all kinds of stuff. So all kinds of craziness is going on right now. So if you're out there in Greensboro, be very careful. Mind your P's and Q's and just be careful. Again, as I always say, be weird, be rude, be safe, and keep your head on a swivel. Bye, everybody. Thank you for the support and have a great night.